All right, I will call the July 8th, 2024 school board meeting to order, and we'll start with the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And then roll call of board members, starting with Director Christensen.
Laurel Christensen.
Matt Temple.
John Odegaard.
Jeremy LeBlanc.
Amanda Lacey.
Sonia Peterson.
Ron Winter.
We're all present. Then we all should have an updated agenda. I think it was updated on board book. Are there any questions? Otherwise, I'm looking for a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
A motion to approve.
And a second?
Second, LeBlanc.
Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Tonight, I'll read our mission statement. It's to provide a caring environment of high expectations that prepares every student for a successful future and instills the value of learning. And for the public address of Board of Education, there's no one here, so I assume there is nobody to offer anything. Consent agenda is the meeting minutes from June 13th, the payment of claims, and the finance report. Any questions on any of those items?
I make a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second by Temple.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. And we're going to move into second part. It's called board organization for the 2024-25 school year. So we're going to set the board and committee meeting dates for 2024-25, or I should say, I think they've sent those out in the board materials. The second Monday of the month at 6 o'clock. However, November falls on Veterans Day. No meeting will be held. The November meeting is currently set for November 12th. And then there's some committee meetings for the rest of this year.
Those are all corresponding dates, so they're subject to change.
Any question on any of those items? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the board and committee meeting dates for 24-25 school year?
Motion by LeBlanc to approve.
And a second?
Second by Temple.
Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. And then, do you want to talk about the next item before we do the resolution?
Yeah, this is the Indigenous Peoples' Day resolution. So as you can see from the previous item, there are meeting dates with restrictions. And so if we are going to have school and meetings, we need to pass this resolution. We do take October 14th as a opportunity to educate our students on programming or provide programming around Indigenous Peoples' Day. So that is a resolution we need to pass in order to have school that day. And we can have meetings that day also.
So this is a resolution, so roll call vote. So first need a motion to adopt the resolution.
I'll make a motion to adopt the resolution for meetings to be held on Indigenous Peoples' Day.
And is there a second?
Second by Temple.
Okay. And again, roll call vote, starting with Director Christensen.
Laurel Christensen, yes.
Matt Temple, yes.
John Odegaard, yes.
Jeremy LeBlanc, yes.
Amanda Lacey, yes.
Sonia Peterson, yes.
Ron Winter, yes.
Okay, motion carries. The next, item 3 and 4, I think we could probably take together. It's designating the official publications site to be the Wyoming website, www.isd2190.org, and the official newspaper to be the Advocate Tribune, as it happens to be the only newspaper serving the Wyoming community. Is there a motion to approve those 2 items?
Amanda Lisa, I'll make that motion.
And a second?
I'll second.
Any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Authorized financial procedures and personnel for 24-25 school year.
So that's, again, in line with what we have done in the past here. Chairman Wilcox, and Tara Miller will handle those items, so.
Okay, is there a motion for this item?
I'll make that motion.
And a second?
I'll
I'll
second.
Okay, motion and a second. Any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Item 8.6 is designating the school depositories.
And those are, again, in line with what we have done in the past. We keep our payroll at FM Bank and our board account at Citizens Alliance, along with the electronic EFT for direct deposits through Citizens Alliance. And then the Minnesota School District Liquid Asset Funds is used for receiving and state aid and revenue. That allows us to make some earnings on that, and credit card deposits.
Okay, is there a motion to designate those school depositories?
Motion by LeBlanc to approve.
And a second?
Second by Zempel.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Authorizing facsimile use of board signatures.
This allows you to not have to come in every month and sign things. I think it does you a great favor, allows us to move forward. It's probably a little antiquated in that we have to pass this, but it's still in statute this way, so.
I'll make that motion pass. To approve.
Okay, and a second?
Second by Zempel.
Okay, I assume no one has any questions or our best desires to settle. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. And the last item under this section is designating attorney and legal counsel.
So we have 2 different groups we use there. Most of our school law goes through. We've used, for the past couple of years, Kristen Nierengarten from Squires, Walsberger and Mace, which I think that's still right. They change frequently with partnerships, and use her for most school-related matters. And then for property purposes, it's nice to have someone local, and so we use Spencer Quam from Holmstrom, Quam, and Blackwell.
All right, and is there a motion to designate that attorney and legal counsel as presented?
I'll make that motion.
And a second?
I'll second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. That moves us to the district report, which is our only report tonight.
Okay, so I'll try and expedite this. First item I have there is facilities analysis work session. That's not for you folks per se. This is an opportunity for us. I shouldn't have called it a work session. But this is an opportunity for, as we talked about during our work session, Preston and Jim to present to the public, including the staff. So I originally had given you 4 dates, but Jim is not available for Wednesday, August 28th, so that date is out. So I kind of like your input on whether you think August 27th, Thursday, August 29th, or Wednesday, September 4th would be best or most conducive to most people. Wednesday is a Wednesday night, but that is the second day of school, and so it's not likely that there's church activities up and going. At least for my church, I don't think they do have church activities that night. Thoughts, preferences?
Are you thinking of doing like one for staff and then a later one for public? Is that
Yes,
what we're
that's
thinking?
correct. And you folks don't have to be at them. I want more than anything, just your input on what days you think would be, but you definitely would be invited to them. And start time, or, I mean, think about yourselves as parents and or community members. Is a 6 o'clock start? Is what do you think the community we would get the best attendance?
I think September 4th at like 6 for community would be the best attendance, because it's after that last week of summer vacation for a lot of people.
Okay,
And I agree, I think church activities are usually up and rolling the second day of school.
and there's nothing saying we can't have it. I just like to keep that
Right. From a
relationship
community
with the community.
perspective, yeah.
Thoughts, any objections to that?
I agree with Matt, I think that would be a good date and time.
Kind of makes sense too, because people are starting to think about school again and.
Right. They've been in for the open house maybe.
Do you think 6 is too early to start time, maybe 6:30?
6:30? Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people that travel to other communities for work, so.
Well, we also want to think about Preston and whoever's coming to present though, if they
Right.
do, depending on when they do it staff, they're just hanging around.
Yeah, well,
I understand.
Well, they also need
did
to
you
suffer.
see some of the costs of?
I did.
Yeah.
And I don't mean anything disrespectful.
No,
you-
but, yeah.
You're paying them for their time.
Yeah, this is for us, it's not so much for them, so. this
I
is
like
for-
the idea of 6:30,
Yeah.
allows people to quick feed the kids and.
And maybe get an opportunity to come.
Yeah, or commute back from Marshall or
Right.
there, move for work too.
Okay, so I'm hearing 6:30, and then I'll set something up with the staff before that. Staff is easy to communicate with. What do you folks recommend we do to communicate? I mean, how do we get the word out there?
All
Open
things,
house.
social media is very good.
Social
Social
media.
media and open house.
Yeah, if there's some way you could do something for a sign or something at open house when people are coming in.
Put it on a marquee outside.
Like flyers during the open house,
Yep.
talk about it, you know, as people are coming in to, Get Chromebooks. yeah.
It's definitely
You're
social
so
media.
excited about the, what's it called? A marquee?
Is that a marquee?
I don't know, I just think a digital sign
It's
outside.
What's
Is it
it
a
called?
marquee?
Is it a marquee?
It's,
People call it that.
So,
Do you know it? It's a marquee.
Building and Grounds keep shooting down my sign.
It's
On
gonna
the
be
bus?
included in what we're doing here, okay?
No, those signs are expensive. Yeah, you think, is it worth, do we push it, do we overwhelm parents when we send out text messages about that stuff?
Only if it's like 5 or 6.
Well, right, it depends, the first week of
I
school.
mean, I know
probably.
that's what ends up happening, and that
Yeah.
probably is going to be going on during that time.
Well, and maybe we can give them like a couple weeks prior to, you know, if we get it with not all the other.
Save the
Right,
dates.
Yeah.
some say
Yeah.
the date notice out
Right,
2 or 3
Yeah.
weeks in advance.
yes.
Well, yeah, because if you get it out, if we
And
push
then a
it
reminder the day
back
out. is
past
fine.
the
Yeah.
first week of
That-
school, then people get busy. They're
Yeah.
just-
But if you send them like a text reminder that morning, like, oh yeah, that's right, I was gonna do that tonight, or, you know? Along with the other 50 that come through.
Okay, and then, the other one is, okay, so that's parents, and word of mouth is pretty good, but think about the group that goes to the voting
The paper?
We have to.
newspaper.
Newspaper.
You think that'll work?
And I think that
I think it'll work
maybe
for some.
How about radio?
Our problem with when Denise and I talk about radio, which one?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And it's not free.
The signs that you put up for like open house, can they be brought to Sunex in Parkville? Can they be brought to the
Oh, yeah.
Legion in
So,
Hanley Falls where they have coffee?
Brought out to the
Yeah.
okay,
community
so
gathering.
Hanley
And I
Falls
can-
Well,
is,
handouts too.
I can help you with, my dad's a frequent coffee goer in all those towns, so I can help you with,
okay.
knowing where to drop them off.
Good idea.
Yeah, cause I think back when we were giving meals away for COVID, I think we did go to those places and put up signs.
Mhm.
Yep.
What about Echo? Just their
Echo?
coffee shop or whatever?
There's no
Over
coffee
there.
shop, it would be the, community center.
Okay.
Community centers,
Community
gas
center would be a
stations,
good
and
place in,
restaurants, coffee shops, if they're willing to post them.
local drinking establishments, maybe not that.
Yep.
Okay, all right, so we'll do all of those things, text messages to our families. Yeah, okay, thank you. Now I timed out, so, 1 second. So the next thing is, the handbooks are there, so we're hoping to have those approved tonight. New teacher in service, it gives you a list of all the new teachers we have coming in this year and their mentors. We have a group lunch at Granite Run Golf Course that the district provides, 11:45 to 12:45. If you are interested in coming to that lunch, please let us know so we count you. So, August 20th, I'll try and send out something and discuss it again at next month's board meetings. MSCA negotiations is this Wednesday night at 5:30. We'll have a pre-meeting at 5:15 Fireplace Room. I sent the proposals to you folks, so if, depending upon how fast you want to go, we don't have to go super fast, but if you have some changes you'd like that you know, or we can hold off on providing those to them that night. So, coaching vacancies, so for the fall, we have an assistant football coach. We believe we have locked in a volleyball coach, but we just need to finish following up on a few things, but we think we have a head volleyball coach, so that's great. We believe that we're gonna have a head baseball coach in the coming weeks. So we have a couple names, a couple people have expressed interest in it, so. Buildings and grounds update, so a lot is going on. For example, the dishwashing room, the floor is in, Francis has the dishwasher most of the way back in. Got a few parts we need to order with it. That should then go into an intense cleaning of that area. The lights, as I mentioned before the meeting, in the new gym are up. When you go in there, at least to me, it was noticeable how much brighter it is. They are going to have to change some motion detectors because they're not working with those current lights. So they're going to put them in all four corners, and there won't be any that remain on during the day. So once there's no occupancy for 15 minutes or motion for 15 minutes, the lights will go off. So,
Retired in the 1980 Jim?
yeah,
Okay.
not the 2019. I'm sorry. So the outside, we're getting quite a bit done on the outside. For example, we've got a couple dead trees over by the football field, so we're gonna have Brian's tree come in and take those out, and then we're gonna trim up our ash trees. Hopefully they last, that's worth the trimming. before they eventually succumb to the ash borer. But we'll try and trim that up because that does provide nice shade for the preschool playground there. So Matt's doing a lot of work. Lots happening. Thank you for allowing me to hire him. He's doing a great job. And for Sawyer Hanson, he's been definitely good addition and help us get a lot done. So, the tractor, what did Francis say? Was he going to get it today or tomorrow?
Sometime this week, I think.
Yeah, so the tractor should be here. We'll take the old tractor and put that up probably for bids. I don't know what it's worth yet. Did a little work on trying to figure it out, but we'll see where we get with that. So we are keeping the attachments for that tractor and using them on the new tractor, like the snowblower. I'm watching very closely. So during the legislative session, they made some changes with paraprofessional qualifications, so watching that very carefully, that we're gonna be okay no matter what. There is some opportunities for us to get these people hired, but it could prove to be a little bit daunting. So, of course, they stepped in and added a few layers to it. The people that are currently employed, we should be just fine, but the hiring of new people, which we are anticipating hiring a few paraprofessionals in the coming weeks. So, all right. Questions for me? That's all I have.
Thank you for the update. It's always very thorough, and I know you guys are working hard on getting those positions filled. We have personnel items. There are no leave requests or resignations, so one new hire, long-term substitute teacher Julie Lunia.
She will cover while our MBCC case manager is out on medical leave for a period of time to begin the school year. So she's going to cover that, doing 4 days a week, and we're paying her at a BA step 6. 2 years ago, she was BA step 4. Last year, BA step 5. So this year, BA step 6. It's vital, so appreciate being able to hire her.
All right, is there a motion to approve the employment of long-term substitute teacher Julie Lunia?
Make that motion.
In a second?
Amanda Lisi, second.
All right, all in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. And then the next 3 items are, I think, are 4 items actually. Well, next 3 items are resolutions. I'll let Rick talk about, Mr. Snyder talk about.
So the
these.
first one is a resolution pertaining to the election. They kind of all are, and they're required for us to adopt each of those. So I'd appreciate if each of them is passed with vote to the affirmative. We really don't have any choice, otherwise we can't have an election.
Okay. So, I guess what questions does anyone have before we go through the next 3 items? If any. All right, the first one is looking for a motion to adopt a resolution relating to the election of the school board members and calling the school district general election. Is there a motion to adopt that resolution?
Amanda Lisi, I'll make that motion.
And a second?
I'll second.
Okay, it is roll call vote, so we'll start again with Dr. Christensen.
Laurel Christensen, yes.
Matt Zempel, yes.
Dawn Odegaard, yes?
Jeremy LeBlanc, yes.
Amanda Lisi, yes.
Sonia Peterson, yes.
Ron Winter, yes.
The next item is to adopt a resolution establishing dates for filing affidavits of candidacy.
Motion by LeBlanc to approve.
Second by Semple.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, and I believe this, it's beginning July 30th and close at 5 p.m. on August 13th.
That's correct.
With the general election on November 5th. So we have a motion and a second, again, roll call vote. We'll start with Director Winter.
Ron Winter, yes.
Sonia Peterson, yes?
Amanda Lisi, yes.
Jeremy LeBlanc, yes.
Matt
Oh, no.
Semple, sorry, no.
Sorry, Don Odegaard, yes.
Matt Semple, yes.
Laurel Christensen, yes.
Thank you. And then the next item is to adopt a resolution requiring the tally of write-in votes only if write-in votes are greater than a ballot candidate's total votes.
Yeah, so we don't have to count them if there's not sufficient. So,
Makes sense, actually. Is there a motion to adopt that resolution?
Make that a motion.
And a second?
I'll second it.
Any questions?
So what do we do before?
This is
This is what
what we have to do.
Is this?
Yeah, this does not stand in the way of a writing campaign.
No, it's more like if somebody voted for Mickey Mouse.
Correct.
And vote.
We don't have to report out on Mickey Mouse.
That's fine, just asking if it's a change from past practice. It's not.
No.
I see. All right. We have a motion in a second? I lost my place for a second, right? All right. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Oh, no.
Resolution.
Oh, sorry, see? I should have asked all the questions. All right. We'll start with Director Winter.
Ron Winter, yes.
Sonia Peterson, yes?
Amanda Lisi, yes.
Jeremy LeBlanc, yes.
John Odegaard, yes.
Matt Semple, yes.
Laurel Christensen, yes.
Almost got there. Great. All right, so now we're gonna move on to the handbooks, both for Burt Rainey Elementary and the Wyoming Middle School, High School. The handbooks for 24-25.
Yeah, so both of those red line masters are included in the board report, and we would, upon adoption, we would remove the red line and then use them for this calendar year, or for this academic year. And if there are any changes, anything, they will bring them to you individually at a board meeting. So at this point, they have reviewed them.
Comments, questions? Do you wanna approve them together? Do you wanna approve them separately?
Just double checking this, did the exception for students with medical,
For the phone?
for the cell phones get included in here?
Yeah, it's something, it's just like
I
a,
thought I saw it.
Yeah, it's the last statement.
it's just, I think it's,
Is it?
yeah, it's just a statement about allowances or something. Can't remember how it was worded. Students with school approved medical plans will have accommodations. That's what it says. Right?
Oh, I don't know.
It's
I
on
didn't find
page
it yet.
14 of the middle school, high school. One doesn't have anything yet. Is that what you're looking for that?
Yeah.
I think the only heartburn I have, and I know it's necessary, is this cell phone and the pushback we're gonna get from parents, and some parents on that, and the worries that they may have of, in the event if there's an emergency, that they may not be able to get hold of their child. So, I understand, I mean, I know it happened before cell phones were invented, but I just, the convenience is here, and it's something that's real, and I'm worried about those issues.
So that, you know, of course, we can't remove all of everybody's apprehensions about this, but we do, the student will still have access to their email, so parent could in theory email them. Second of all, we're gonna encourage them to use the old method of calling into the office and we'll reach out to that classroom.
do these rules apply to in between classes as well?
You know, I don't know where she's sitting at with that.
I know when she talked about it, she said they just need to be away from
Away
the
from-
classroom, and
Mhm.
not used in the classroom.
She didn't mention anything in between classes of that I remember.
She didn't, you know, clearly this doesn't specifically call it out, so.
It just
Away
says
for the
away
day.
for the day, just.
But that could, that's subject to interpretation.
Mhm.
Yeah, I can tell you, between classes, that's gonna be really hard to police.
Mhm.
I mean, even if I'm standing there, you know, and I would discourage any teacher from not dealing with it in a classroom, but I don't know that I would say much to a teacher or myself if I saw it in the hall. Next to impossible to.
I'm just curious, I mean, should it not be stated then away during classroom times? To me, this is very, wouldn't that look better than the way this looks? This looks to me like you show up at school in the morning, you get your phone, you leave at 3:06. So I think this should be worded differently. And then it says 6 through 12, didn't we talk about 9 through 12, aren't we gonna work into this? I didn't think we were taking the whole,
I thought we were doing the whole middle school, high school.
because
I know.
we talked, did we not talk?
I think, is it fair that I take these concerns back to Stacy? So we adopt this handbook less the cell phone provision? Is that acceptable? So come back with
I don't know that
clarification.
I wanna go that far.
I mean, are there any questions about the
Others.
first offense, second offense? I mean, that appears to be appropriate. Does anybody have any questions about that language? And I think getting parents involved is probably the answer to some of those repetitive offenses. I don't know what progressive disciplinary action means. Would we
That's-
suspend a kid from, give them a detention if they have their phone too many times?
I don't know.
Well, I think part of it would depend on what they're doing with it, if they're using it to bully, harass another student. But then that would qualify under another.
I mean, we don't, we're hearing from the teachers and staff that the phones are a problem.
Yep.
And they are a problem. We know this is happening, we know bullying is happening, we know that limiting them will make things better for students and probably the staff,
Well,
for sure students,
I
but
feel like last year they did this too, like they take their phone and they could get it back at the end of the day. That's nothing new. And the second one, the parent would have to come pick it up. I don't feel like that's anything new either. Am I correct in that? I mean, I feel
Yeah,
like
that's
they
how
were
they-
doing that last year. Sorry, Donna, I interrupted you.
no, you're fine. I just didn't know what progressive disciplinary action consistent with the action means. I just don't know what it means, like,
The thing that I see here that kind of confuses me is the quotations are on away for the day. What exactly does that mean? Like, completely away, but I can have it during class period? It's kind of vague. That one is a little vague for me, but, I mean, the first and second offense, I feel like are happening now or happening last school year, so I don't think that's much different.
and if the medical plans and this office or this hand works with the parent and the family, that's the exceptions for those things. What is the staff support on this? And I only ask it because in order for this to work, all the teachers have to agree, no phone in the classroom. Have we gotten any feedback on that? Like everybody really?
She met with them and this was, I think, their conclusion, their idea.
Because I honestly think if they cohesively and uniformly do this, the kids will catch on to it, but if you got one or two teachers that are allowing it, then it's gonna kind of
And I
deteriorate.
feel like that's how it's been in years past too. You have some teachers allowing it, some teachers not. The same thing with the hats. Some teachers allow it, some do not. You know, it's nothing across the board. But with the phones, it really should be.
Do you hear from parents of other districts of what's working?
I know Wilmer doesn't let them use them in their high school.
Dawson, they keep them in their locker all day.
If we had all working lockers, that the kids would actually use their lockers.
And
That would be a
use
good one.
them.
Yep. But they don't even use the lockers, and that's what happens with the backpack thing too.
I think where I'm at, it's a problem and it's something we have to deal with. And we gotta start somewhere, and if this isn't working, I guess it's all of our prerogative to make adjustments.
Are we comfortable with this as is presented, so we can move forward on the handbook, or with the clarifications that we need? I guess my impression from her presentation last month, Away for the Day, was away for the day. I would assume, I mean, maybe I'm a little old fashioned, but you go to the office and say, I need to call my parent.
Yeah.
Parent needs to get hold of their kid. You guys can reach out to the classrooms during the day. I realize it's not convenient, but if it's an emergency, I would have,
You know, something I didn't think of is you can't email the child, that's actually.
you can,
Yeah.
eventually. Yeah, I didn't think of that either.
As long as they're reading, I'll have to tell you to read.
Well, if they don't have a phone, they're gonna be on their.
There's
their
a
phone. Sorry.
They all have
That
these.
is my child.
That's probably a good skill to teach our kiddos. is that
Yep.
damn thing.
They need to do
Sorry,
that.
your boss is not gonna Snapchat you to come to work.
Exactly.
That is very true.
Your homework that's due, it's in your email.
Yeah.
It's right
That's
there.
right.
And then get a text message on it.
What are we thinking?
I feel like we should pass it the way it's written.
I would be comfortable if you just went back and spoke to Mrs. Kins about some of our questions and just for clarity. Not sure
So
what-
I think those that have some concerns want more details maybe in that. Like what does Away for the Day mean? Is that what I'm hearing or not?
I mean, I think having it away for the day in there allows them to, like, you can't have it even in the hallways if they want to, right? Is that gonna be an actual issue from day one? But it gives the administration that authority up front, yeah.
Well, the first sentence says, students in grades 6-12 may not use their cell phones. I feel like that is a very strong statement. I would say that means no hallways.
Yeah.
But maybe with some clarification, like when she does her back to school letter or something like that, she can just briefly explain, Away for the Day means no, none.
None.
You know, just kind of just a brief additional
And we'll call the office.
to,
And add the email thing.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah, they'll have their Chromebooks.
yep,
Yeah.
Yep. They all have email addresses, Wyoming email addresses, correct? All the
Yeah,
students? Yep.
Absolutely.
cause if we
So-
have some of these concerns, we know that the parents are also gonna have these concerns, and when she does
Right.
that back to school letter that, you know, typically is done, that can address those things.
So Jeremy, you say Dawson does lockers, I'm assuming that gives them flexibility between classes.
Yeah, I know that my son they've got freedom at lunch to use them.
I mean, I
And
don't
I
want
guess
to
you
throw this
probably-
place into a prison though, yeah.
I'm guessing because they have to leave their backpacks and their lockers
Right.
too. So if there's in between class, and you're not gonna be able to police that, but.
I mean, I thought we were talking about pouches to put them, something to put them in when they went into the classroom.
Well, right.
That's how she originally presented it, I don't remember presenting,
Mm-hmm.
so where are we keeping the cell phones during the day? Every class they go to, they
In
then,
their backpack?
Well, in our last meeting, she said they could keep them in their pocket if they wanted to,
Mhm.
just
But
because
just keep them in-
they can't be out.
Not on.
Yeah.
I'm just saying I think it's gonna be really hard between classes and to monitor.
I think that's what we're just.
Well, right.
Yeah,
I mean, if they're caught, they're caught. If they're not,
Are
you
we
know, hate
comfortable
to say that, but.
with the idea of the way for the day, with the clarification, and then sending, you know, an explanation to the parents in that back-to-school letter?
I'd be comfortable.
I mean, I just don't
Yes.
feel like I wanna micromanage that as a board member.
No, I
What's
don't either.
happening at the school in the hall, like, I would
Right.
like administration to make that call, like,
Right.
maybe we do let them have it at,
So why don't we write it as put away during classroom times? That makes more sense in the way for the day. I think it should be wrote different.
That's true. I agree with that.
Isn't that what
This
we're
is not
trying to
clear.
do? I mean, would that be a starting?
Well, I think
go ahead, no.
when they talked about it before, lunch was the biggest problem for middle school, where there was bullying and harassment. So that was one of the big pain points there. And in between classes was also a problem. So having the ability to enforce it across the board if they need to, and
And I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying at all, but as soon as 306 happens,
There
the
you
bullying
go, there.
doesn't stop.
Correct, but it doesn't need to be happening on school
No, but
grounds.
it might be
So-
minimized, if it's not happening all day, on the hour, and at lunch. I mean,
Mhm.
I think the idea is to sort of slow it down, and at some point, it maybe will be less.
I
Yeah,
think
we're not
after
just
that-
talking distractions here, too. We're talking, I mean, I'm sure you guys are hearing the same stuff I am from the news about the mental health of our kiddos as a result of constantly being on that cell phone, needing that security
Attention.
blanket,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yep.
attention, feedback,
You're
instantaneous
constantly
feedback.
grabbing their phones all the time.
Watching,
Yes.
So then
watching TV.
is bullying gonna become more of an issue towards those kids that have the medical conditions? 'Cause I'll use my son as an example. His phone would have to be out the whole time to monitor blood sugar. Now,
Oh,
are we opening the door there?
well, you'd have to have access to it. So if he gets an alarm or an alert to check it for that in particular.
Right.
It's not
So you
all
have it
the
in his
time.
All the
pocket.
time. I mean, it'll fluctuate. You
But
could
you
have a
can-
half-hour time.
He could still have it in his pocket and get that warning. You know,
Correct.
and he doesn't have to have it out. But he's one of the students with school-approved medical plans will have accommodations. So that would be one of those, you know, that would be that student.
But I think what,
I'm just saying, I
Saying
think those
is-
kids are gonna get pointed out too.
then are
So
they gonna
I'm
be
just saying the can of
subject
worms
to attention drawn to them because they
It's gonna
have
be an issue
access?
either way, so. But I agree we have to do something. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, let's just be prepared.
Well, it's a big change and it's gonna,
Right,
Mhm.
well, along with everything else.
but I think if we're gonna go for it, we go for
We
it,
need to
and
try
then
it.
we loosen it up afterwards if we need to. That's mine.
Kinda like the smudging policy.
Or.
I think that
That's
this
coming
is,
up later.
this is written very, very, broadly, I think, that it
Yes.
doesn't spell out all those details, so then the school can work on the details.
Correct.
So do you want the details in the handbook, I guess, is,
I-
so if you adopt it as is, there won't be more details, even though she can provide more details in the letter home. But,
I think I would be comfortable with adopting it as is and just having Stacy explain it
In a letter.
well, I'm not sure if it's a letter or at least to this board in more detail of what her thoughts are.
Do we know what repetitive offenses may result in progressive disciplinary action consistent with the action needs? Is there another place in this?
It reads it
Can-
further down a little bit and talks about
Is it?
in the second, the page afterwards, it kind of repeats everything again in the next page with a little bit more.
And the only reason I ask that is if I was reading this, I would, for my own student, I would wanna know like, well, what is their, are they capable of having happen to them?
Oh, the electronic devices, it kind of explains more in that area.
Yeah, look at this. Cell phones and other electronic devices may not be used between the start of the first period and the end of the last period of school.
Yeah, she took out unless they're part of the instructional pattern. I truly believe she meant iPhones.
Not at all.
Yep.
Does that need to be, does the cell phone thing need to be moved down, right, to right above electronic devices?
I think they're all in alphabetical order, so under the C, that's why it's
Sure, that's
where it's
one,
at.
okay,
Mhm.
didn't think of that, good call.
Mhm. So what happens if we approve the handbook and want further clarification on the cell phone thing? How does that impact getting the handbook available?
Oh, well, you know, we still do have one more board meeting before that, August 12th. But,
We don't print them
Sure.
anymore.
no,
No,
we just post them to our
post them.
website. Yeah, we might print them for maybe new students, so, I don't know if they print them even for new students.
Cause I remember back in the day, it used to be included in the,
Yeah.
well, that, or we used to even do, like schedules or like binders where they could write down what they have for homework and that sort of thing.
Oh, I see what
It
you
used to
mean,
be-
planners.
Planners. It
Planners.
used to be
Yeah.
included in that, so then we'd have to like have it
Done ahead of time.
done like
So it could get to the printer,
way
yeah.
early.
Yeah, you're
So-
right.
Yeah, to go to the printers,
Yeah,
yeah.
we don't do that anymore, so.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna say about signing up back in my day.
Oh,
Parents had to have a signature sheet.
yeah.
That didn't go away too long ago, did it? I thought we
I don't know,
just
maybe
had that
we
in
had
the
it not that long ago here, but used to have to sign it.
So what are we comfortable with? Are we saying we wanna approve the handbook minus the cell phone policy and come back? Do we wanna postpone it to the August meeting? Do we wanna move forward on does the Burt one have the same language?
No, I don't think so.
Theirs is different because they didn't relate, they just have no cell phones,
That's
period.
the same
Still
Yeah, they
through
keep
that.
them
They-
as,
they might-
That's been like that.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's some
and it
changes.
would make us consistent.
but then if they, may not be used, I guess the storage container will be used during all PE classes.
Which means they might carry them with them.
Right, they didn't need to be away, but PE, they require that you
Use.
lock stuff that can't be used at all, because there's strict
Right.
people in there about using them.
Mhm. What are we thinking?
I would be comfortable approving as is.
Mine as well.
Agree.
I think somebody just makes a motion.
Yeah. So is there a motion to approve the student handbooks for the 2024-25 school year?
Motion by Zempel.
Second by Amanda.
Further questions or clarification? I think we would all like to have some kind of update on the cell phone piece.
Okay.
Mhm.
Just some clarification, it would help us answer questions and know, and something for the parents for back to school letter. So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed no.
No,
All right, motion carries. That moves us on to the adopting a resolution, fiscal year 25 long-term facilities maintenance 10-year plan.
So this is required that we submit this. We all know that this is not a real, it's not real. We do best we can, but unfortunately, we do not know the costs of doing some of these, and that's why we're conducting a facilities analysis, going down that road, but we must submit this.
All right, specific questions? Is there a motion to approve, or, sorry, is there a motion to adopt the resolution for the long-term facilities maintenance 10-year plan for fiscal year 25?
Motion by LeBlanc to adopt resolution.
And a second?
Amanda Lucio, second.
Please roll call vote. Start with Director Christensen.
Laurel Christensen, yes.
Matt Temple, yes.
John Odegaard, yes.
Jeremy LeBlanc, yes.
Amanda Lucio, yes.
Sonia Peterson, yes.
Ron Winter, yes.
All right. And then there are a couple other items to approve the phone system renewal.
Yeah, so we have a choice here. We can go with a 1-year license or a 3-year license. We have not noticed any problems with our phones. Only hiccup we have at this point is when we do lose internet, we do lose our phone. But that's how many businesses are doing it. To avoid that, we'd have to purchase another internet service provider and significantly increase our costs. I'm sure Marshall School District has some redundancy. Other than districts our size, I'm only aware of Montebello having a redundant internet provider, so.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Which one?
Which one though?
1 or
We
3?
got a 1-year plan. It
Oh,
looks like the
goodness,
3-year
let me
plan
just-
gives us a 15% discount.
Oh, well, that's always a good.
Instead of
That's
going
only
every
3
year.
That was good.
Which one are you comfortable with?
The 3-year.
The 3-year?
All right.
And I'll make a motion to approve the 3-year contract.
And a second?
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Approval of the fee and rate schedule for 2024-25.
So we did make a few changes on there. Let's see if I can get the, first of all, on the fees and rates schedule, driver's ed, a little explanation. Remember, we're offering this as a classroom part, and so they will not be charged during the day. So outside the regular day, if we were to have enough need, we could offer it next summer. We would charge them $100. Behind the wheel only, so those classroom students, so students taking as part of the classroom would pay $275 just for the behind the wheel portion. If we offer it during the summer, the classroom and behind the wheel would be $350.
So that's what that meant. The classroom is only like outside of school months if it was offered.
Correct,
Okay.
yeah. Like we currently have it, but
Mhm.
hopefully we don't have a big need for that. So,
And this is just to recoup costs, if I recall from our
Yes.
discussion, that we have to go up to.
We're really-
it's $30 more than it was this year, this summer.
So there's no charge to parents for them taking the class during the school year?
correct, not for the class.
Not for the class,
The
the
drive.
behind the wheel
Correct.
time is what they will be
And
charged.
they could go get that somewhere else too.
Correct.
But we're giving them credit for it and offering it during the school day, which means we cannot charge for that. So, that's free,
But they will do pay for the behind the wheel.
correct.
Yeah.
And we pay for that as a district, we reimburse the driver to drive.
Yeah, we pay his
Do we pay for the
wages and
permits?
operate the vehicle.
Because I know they said there's gonna be someone coming at the end of that class to give that permit test. Do parents pay for that permit test? I can't remember.
That's included.
Is that included?
The county likes to.
I don't know. Do you have to pay for
Can't
that
remember.
separate?
It was included this summer.
Do you pay
From
for the
class.
permit test? I don't think
Was
you
it
pay for
because my
the-
We
son
didn't
turned
really think
15
about
2
it.
weeks after the class and I had to pay for it?
For the test?
When you go in, when you go
Oh,
in
yeah, I guess you
separately.
had to pay for
The
the
permit.
permit.
The
Like through
permit,
the
permit
DMV,
itself,
yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Pay for
not
not
for
the
the
test.
The test was
Okay.
administered.
Yeah.
So you'll still have to pay for your.
The DM, when you go to the DMV to get the permit, but
Yes.
not when they, okay.
The test
There's
was,
so
I mean,
many
if you go to
components
it,
of it.
if you
Yeah.
have to go test at a testing location, then I think it's $10. If you do outside of them coming to the classroom. to do
Well,
it.
that's what we had to do.
Yeah, but I remember
But
Stacy
if I also
said they're
pay
gonna
for
have
it
someone
there-
come to the classroom and do it, which is nice.
They like to just get them all done at once and not have to schedule.
Yeah,
Well, they did it
and that's
50
nice,
people.
yeah.
last year, they came after the summer session.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Instructor came and did it too, that was really nice.
Yeah, as long as you're 15, you can
Mhm.
take permit tests.
Okay. What other addition,
So then on the right-hand column, the IRS rate for travel has changed. And so, and that's, it's gonna stay as a state of flux, because they do change it throughout the year. Substitute pay, I added $5 to each of those top two. We are still probably now, because of that big grant, we are still a little bit below some area schools who are offering $200 a day, so we're a little bit below that, but still pretty good. We're not the lowest. We added a little bit more to the non-certified to kind of reflect a greater need for them. Driver's ed wages, we added $1 to each of those. And then I am recommending that we add $10 to the board and committee meeting. I know you folks have a hard time probably voting yourself a raise, but just in looking at area schools, I think that's fair to add $10 to that. So as a whole, those are the fees and rates, and then the worker stipends, is also, I believe that's another attachment there. We're moving the book from 40, for volleyball, from 40 to 50. Scoreboard and announcer from 40 to 50. Junior high volleyball official from 50 to 55. When it's separate and combined, from 65 to 70. Book for basketball, just like volleyball, went up by $10, along with the scoreboard and announcer. And the same for wrestling. And then we moved the umpire, baseball and softball from 75 to 80. Most of these are reflected in what area schools are offering too, so we can remain competitive, because finding workers for these events is a challenge.
Was there talk of like baseball, softball, that you pay somebody to do books and announcing? I mean, I'm just looking at like wrestling.
We have not done that yet. Just, I know it was brought up this spring, but we just haven't done that. Additional expense, I guess. I mean, it wouldn't have to, I mean, we could approve this as such, and means that's a next spring thing. I can bring it to the finance committee too.
I was just curious, because I know when I talked to Tim a little bit at the time, he said, well, it's hard to find people to fill the spots. I'm like, well, it's really hard to find people to fill spots when you don't pay them anything to do it. And I'm like, I don't understand, baseball was the first example, you got that nice press box, you've got somebody sitting up there announcing, why are we not paying them?
Yeah.
I think the baseball associate, they might have done something, but at that time when I talked to him, like, I think that's something that should be relooked at in here. Because you can't do books and announce a baseball game at the same time.
Yeah. Well, I think what, if I recall correctly, I'm sorry, maybe should have been better prepared for that question, but I think Tim was afraid he couldn't find workers, and then the lack of consistency would get him in trouble.
But I mean, shouldn't you be offering to pay those somebody's there? I mean, to me, you're not even having the opportunity to try to find somebody if we're not. Otherwise, the average person's gonna look at it and be like, well, why is baseball not paying for an announcer? They pay for is it scoreboard or book? But if you're good enough to go and announce a baseball game and do the books at the same time, more power to you.
So, are we talking, so the book, the scoreboard, and the announcer are three different positions?
No, I just think there's gotta be, because right now there's just one position that's paid, correct? I think it's books.
Umpire.
Scoreboard.
It's like
Or
a scoreboard and umpire.
Plus the umpire.
Well, I'm taking the umpire away.
Okay,
That's just.
so you're saying that announcer and book.
Sure. You're thinking that two positions, Ron?
Well, there's one position now, I was thinking there should be at least one more position, throw the umpire out. I know that was Tim's argument that, okay, it's hard to find people. I'm like, well, it's really hard to find people when we're not even offering to pay them anything. That was the point I was trying to get across.
So we want to,
Take tickets at baseball and
No.
softball. So
That's true.
scoreboard.
We don't.
Would we do that?
I mean, it's
for
there
like-
in case we did.
We do that for like sections and stuff. don't we?
We
I
do.
suppose, maybe.
There are times that we probably would that.
Just something to think about. I just,
Mhm.
because I know it was talked about and obviously it didn't go much
Is
further,
it
so.
something that we could revisit, like we could approve tonight and then you can revisit with Tim and see? if
We could
there's
talk about
any-
it.
Something we could talk
can
about,
we amend it in August if
Activity
we,
connect-
if Tim feels we
activities.
need to?
Or like you said, bring it to finance.
Yeah, I'd like to talk
Or
with
activity
Tim about it.
too.
I mean, I personally thought books were done by the team.
And two.
I didn't,
Well, I mean, that's no different than basketball or wrestling. I mean, the same way, you could look at it that way too. And I'm looking at wrestling right here, and we're paying $50 for wrestling book, $50 for wrestling announcer.
yeah, good point.
So
Mhm.
that's where the discussion came up when we looked at it the last time.
But I mean, we are already paying $80 for umpire. You know, so you already have $80 invested into baseball and softball.
So do you pay,
Plus another 50, plus another 50, if
Are
we're
the-
talking two more
are
positions,
the two
correct?
refs free for a basketball game or two
No.
refs?
No,
No,
we.
but they're not listed here either.
Officials.
Well, they're
Officials.
still
Officials.
paid.
Yeah.
Volleyball officials, yeah, I'm sorry, they are.
Just something to look at. I mean, I don't think we should say that, okay, we offer this pay, now we gotta try to find somebody to do it. I think the pay should be available, that if we can find people to do it,
Mhm.
that
And they
we
can compensate
possibly can,
Well, it's a little more incentive.
so.
Yeah.
Right. Money's always a good incentive.
Mhm.
So, yeah,
I mean, if-
whatever the motion is, if you want it looked at for the August board meeting or through finance or through activities committee.
my question is August the last time we can amend these? If
No,
it's decided
we can
that
amend them.
Anytime.
At any
At
time?
any time.
Okay, well then I'd be fine with approving this, but having further discussion, and if we can make changes or decide to, then
Yeah, if, I would say,
we can do that.
if Tim recommends that we do this, right, then you just have a report back on the August board meeting. Say, I talked to Tim, we're gonna look at going forward with the policy committee, or Tim says no, and here's why he says no. And then that would be enough for the reasoning why we do or don't pursue it, and then I'd be fine approving it as. mean,
I
is
thought
that-
he was gonna follow up more on it. He told me it's never been in there, that's why it's set up the way it is.
Mm.
So it's not been talked about, so I think having some discussion would be
Yeah, and
good
then
for clarification.
just to report back in August to
Yep.
what Tim's recommendations are, I think would be enough. Tim doesn't have to even report on it. If he wants to relay it through you and your superintendent's report, that's fine.
All right, is there a motion to approve the fees and rate schedule then for the 2024-25 school year as presented? With
Motion.
possibly a follow-up.
Motion by Zimmer.
Second,
Second by LeBlanc.
all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, no. Motion carries. We're also gonna take an opportunity to recognize the donations received in the 2023-24 school year, posted on Boardwalk. Some have wished to remain anonymous, so some people may have donated that maybe aren't on those lists. But we as a district and as a board would like to appreciate all the generosity from all of the individuals and parties that have donated to our district. I think it's safe to say that some projects and things maybe wouldn't be happening if we didn't have such generous donations. So thank you very much for the support for YME. Would anybody else like to add to that or say anything?
And I think it's really important for people to understand our community is very generous. Like she said, many of our programs would not survive without some of this. So it's awesome. Very appreciated.
Okay. Approval of the credit card use and procurement procedure. Don't say that together 3 times in a row. Anything you wanna add about the credit card use and procurement procedure?
This basically just lays out who can use them and for what purposes. It kind of adds a layer of responsibility for those people, so they're not just, here, put this into your computer. So,
Right. Is there a motion to approve that procedure?
Motion by Sam.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. We have another resolution designating, do you pronounce it
Iowa.
Iowa, for the 2024-25 school year. Those individuals being Mr. Schneider and you, as your proxy. Okay. Is there a motion to adopt this resolution? It's an annual thing, I believe.
Correct.
Motion by LeBlanc to approve.
Second?
I'll second.
Okay, this is also a roll call vote, starting with Director Winter.
Ron Winter, yes.
Sonny Peterson, yes.
Amanda Lacey, yes.
Jeremy LeBlanc, yes.
Dawn Odegaard, yes.
Matt Semple, yes.
Laurel Christensen, yes.
All right. And accepting a bid for the Milk and Milk products from the 2024-25 school year.
We did get 2 different bids for that, Kemp's and it's called Prairie Farms, I believe it is. So, as you can see, Prairie Farms is cheaper in several of the areas, so we will recommend that you choose Prairie Farms. Just in Falls, South Dakota.
What do you do for the 1% white half pint? They didn't bid it.
We, so there's different regulations now with the amount of calories that we can offer. We're just not gonna offer 1% half pint anymore. So,
So you'll only offer skim?
skim, correct.
Okay. All right. Is there a motion to accept the milk bids for Prairie Farms?
Amanda Lacey, I'll make that motion.
And a second?
I'll second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Now we are into policy updates. We've got a few. There's an annual approval policy 721, uniform grant guidance policy regarding federal revenue sources.
Okay, we have to approve this, they provide us with this guidance every year with our audit, and so this helps us ensure we're in compliance with federal requirements.
Is there a motion to approve the annual renewal of policy 721?
Motion by LeBlanc to approve.
Second?
Second by Zumba.
All in favor say yes, or aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Mixed you guys all up, making sure everybody's listening. All right, the next three are the second reading and adoption, policy 504, the student dress and appearance, policy 507.5, school resource officers, and policy 604, instructional curriculum.
So those three are all second readings. We've already had their first readings earlier and were recommended by the policy committee.
I'll make a motion to approve.
And a second?
I'll second.
Any questions on any of those three policy comments? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. And then we have adoption of the YME smudging policy.
So we've gone, it's been quite a journey with this. We did have a trial this spring. As part of that, we want to go forward with this policy as submitted to you tonight. So,
And can I just add that in the discussions I've had with you, that it went good, there were no issues?
agree?
So these are not really any changes from our trial policy.
Correct.
No changes, I don't think. I didn't see any of
I
that.
didn't see any changes.
From our side.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second by Zumba.
All right, comments, further discussion, questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no?
No.
Motion carries. All right, there are no discussion items. I don't think there's any correspondence.
No?
Okay. Upcoming events, we did talk about adding one, negotiations, we talked about earlier, is scheduled for this Wednesday, July 10th. Board meeting is August 12th at 6 p.m. Merved Paraprofessional Conference is August 14th at the Benson High School. New teacher orientation, August 20 to 21, 2024. Staff development, August 27th through the 29th. First day of the 24-25 school year is September 3rd, 2024. Board meeting, again, the next one after that would be September 9th at 6 p.m. There's probably gonna be some other things that pop up. Any other events or something that we missed? Meeting, committee meetings? Okay. We are gonna move to a closed session then pursuant to Minnesota statute, section 13D.05.3 for the purpose of discussing the evaluation of an employee subject to the authority of the school board. I would just add that this is, with the school superintendent, and it is, procedure that we will provide a summary at the next scheduled board meeting. And when we rejoin the meeting, there will be no further business.